cannon and musket fire, sails ripped to shreds, brutal hand-to-hand combat. Such was the life on board a privateer.
There were some encounters where 20 or 30 men were dead by the end of it. And just imagine the noise. These booming 6-pound, 8-pound, 10-pound, sometimes 12-pound or even heavier cannons going off. There are people screaming directions, there are people screaming in agony. It's absolutely pandemonium.
Pandemonium in the name of patriotism and profit, as Marblehead author Eric J. Dolan outlines in his new book, Rebels at Sea, Privateering in the American Revolution.
Privateer was an armed vessel owned by a private individual that was given permission by a government to attack enemies during times of war.
And during the Revolutionary War, Massachusetts led the way, the first colony to pass a privateering act, something President John Adams would later praise in the highest terms.
He said that the Declaration of Independence was a brimborion, or a trifle, in comparison to it. Think about that. And here John Adams, one of our founding fathers, looked back on the Massachusetts Privateering Act and said, you know, that was a lot more important than the Declaration of Independence. And in a very real sense, it was in terms of fighting and winning the war.
The Massachusetts Act created an instant unofficial navy, or a militia of the sea. Privateers carried government licenses called letters of marque, authorizing their activity. And they quickly took the battle to the British, disrupting supply lines and capturing vessels or prizes, the value of which would be split among the ship's owners and crew.
Some of these privateers, even the deckhands, came back and could earn 1,000 or 2,000 pounds sterling, which would be something they couldn't expect to earn in 20 or 30 years of a productive life.
The sailors themselves were largely fishermen and merchant mariners, idled by the oppressive acts and embargoes of Great Britain, although farmers and tradesmen also jumped aboard. They were more than happy to fight back, to feed their families and protect a fledgling nation.
The vast majority of privateers and privateersmen during the American Revolution acted honorably and were operating both in pursuit of money and also because they had patriotic sentiments and they were fighting for their country.
And Dolan is quick to refute a common misconception. Privateers were not pirates.
Pirates were enemies of all mankind. They didn't care what ship they were attacking, what the nationality was. So pirates were essentially out there to attack anybody to make money for themselves. They were not fighting for a larger cause.
Other colonies began passing privateering acts, and in 1776, the Second Continental Congress authorized privateering across the colonies and issued its own letters of marque. In all, 2,000 ships and 20,000 to 30,000 privateersmen contributed to the success of the Revolution, and the goods seized, weapons, food, sailcloth, and more, helped to supply the colonies, which had been largely cut off from trade by British blockades and embargoes. The damage privateers inflicted helped to defeat the British, giving meaningful context to the words of John Adams.
If privateering hadn't been there, we might not have won the war. And if we didn't win the war, the Declaration of Independence would just be a piece of paper.
Wow, and privateering went on to play an important role in the War of 1812.
It did. By 1856, 55 countries signed a treaty banning privateering. They wanted to outlaw it completely. America, which still had a small navy, thought they might need privateers, refused to sign the treaty. And to this day, the United States government can still issue letters of marque for privateers under Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution.